What do you think when I asked you, hey, do you have anything in the car I need to know about? Guns, drugs, knives, bombs. And you go, no, but you got an extended mag Glock sitting on the passenger seat.
It's in my name. I was going to tell you that as soon as you...
I asked you, and I said, is there anything in the car I need to know about? Guns, drugs, knives, bombs. You looked at me dead in my face and said no.
One driver, one lie, one decision that turned a speeding ticket into an arrest. This is the body cam footage of a traffic stop on a Georgia interstate, where a man was clocked doing 133 miles an hour in a 55 zone, in the HOV lane alone. What starts as a routine pullover spirals fast. A dangerous lane changed to dodge the officer, a loaded gun on the passenger seat, and a driver who flatly denies it exists. On camera, to the officer's face. Over the next stretch of video, you'll watch the entire stop unfold in real time. The excuses, the GPS that contradicts his own story, and the moment he realizes there's no talking his way out of this one. Let's get into it.
So you're driving 133 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone. Driver, shut the vehicle off and put your hands out the window. Put both your hands out the window.
Man, I'm rushing because I had an emergency.
Bro, you're driving 133 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone.
Right, but it was an emergency.
What is the emergency?
I got stuff going on with my family. I live in Oak Kid. I'm trying to get
I got stuff going on with my family. Here's the thing. You want to have a conversation that doesn't end with you going to jail, you might want to be a little more forthcoming with the details. What is the situation that causes you to drive 2.5 times the speed limit down the highway?
I want to wait to the airport.
Okay, so you were going to drive 130 plus miles an hour the entire way to the airport, putting everybody else's life on the highway in jeopardy. That's what you're telling me.
So,
Do me a favor, how about? Face that way when you get out. Get out and face that way. I ain't asking you, I'm telling you. Get out and face that way. Get out and face that way. You got anything on you I need to know about? Guns, drugs, knives, bombs. Is there anything in the car I need to know about? You're under arrest for reckless driving. Brother, you're doing 133 down the highway in the HOV lane, putting everybody's life in jeopardy because you want to go to the airport? Come on, man.
my girl's pregnant, bro. I'm not.
So what does that have to do with it?
I'm running late. That's it.
Okay, so your poor time management is what's going to cost somebody else their life. That's what you're telling me. Have a seat. 1024. I'm going to have one in custody.
Right away, the officer does something worth noticing. He asks a direct, specific question. Guns, drugs, knives, bombs, anything in the car? And the driver says no. Remember that answer, because it's about to matter a lot. For now, the driver is handcuffed on the shoulder of the highway, trying to explain that his girlfriend's flight had already landed, and he was running late to pick her up. The officer isn't buying the urgency, because as he points out, if the plane already landed, she's safe on the ground. There's no emergency left to justify the speed. Next, watch how the driver's story about just trying to get off at his exit completely falls apart against his own GPS.
Bro, you're driving almost 80 miles an hour over a 55 mile an hour speed limit.
So,
Because you're trying to get to the hospital? Or you're trying to get to the airport?
I'm trying to get to the airport.
What time her plane landed? Her plane landed what?
Plane already landed. I was running late.
Okay, so then she's on the ground. She's safe. She can sit there. But you're going to cause yourself potentially a life in prison if you kill somebody while driving almost 80 miles an hour over the speed limit down the highway to save yourself, what, 10 minutes?
Sir.
But I mean, I'm not crazy, bro. Like, that's just crazy. To drive that fast to try and save yourself 10 minutes while she's on the ground. What is the dire hurry to get to her that causes you to drive that fast? Just the fact that she's coming into town and you're running late?
There's a lot going on. I was trying to get straight to her and get back to the house. So I just told you
All right, well, here's the thing. I mean, you know you're wrong, because as soon as I start driving past you, you jump across 5 lanes of traffic to try and hide from me on the other side of the highway.
I was about to get off my exit.
The airport airport is 15 miles that way. So either if you're getting off an exit right here, then you ain't going to the airport.
No, I got Waze on my phone. I'm not lying to you.
Brother, come on. I literally work traffic and drive the highway for a living. It says keep driving south for 10 miles. You ain't trying to get off your exit. You're trying to hide from the police.
This is the turning point of the stop. The officer already knows the highway and already knows the driver's excuse doesn't hold up. The exit he claims he was taking would take him nowhere near the airport. And it's at exactly this moment that the officer spots something on the passenger seat. A loaded, extended magazine handgun sitting in plain view. He hasn't said anything yet. He's about to test the driver one more time, because a few minutes earlier, he'd already asked directly if there was anything in the car. Watch what happens when that lie gets called out to his face.
Are there any weapons in the car? No. But you got an extended mag Glock sitting on the fucking passenger seat. It's not chambered. But has 27 rounds in it. Keep driving south for 10 miles. On your own ways, says keep driving south for 10 miles. You ain't trying to get off your exit. You're trying to hide from the police. All right, since you don't have any on you and there's none in your car, do you have a driver's license?
Yes, sir. I have a driver's license.
Okay, whose car are you driving?
Hazard reported ahead.
Registered to you. All right. So, what do you think when I asked you, hey, do you have anything in the car I need to know about? Guns, drugs, knives, bombs. And you go, no, but you got an extended mag Glock sitting on the passenger seat.
It's in my name. I was going to tell you that as soon as you pulled up.
I asked you, and I said, is there anything in the car I need to know about? Guns, drugs, knives, bombs. You looked at me dead in my face and said no. Okay, but I didn't ask you if you, like, it's not a big deal. You're not, it's not against the law to have a gun in your car unless you're a convicted felon. What's your birthday?
Sir, I'm not trying to lie to you about nothing. I'm not trying to get your bad side.
You're all right, Mr. Carter. What's your birthday? Mr. Carter, what's your birthday?
Two separate lies back to back. First about the gun, then a hesitation about his own identity. Neither one adds a new criminal charge on its own, since owning a legal firearm isn't illegal. But it changes the entire tone of the stop. The officer even says it plainly. If the driver had just been honest and cooperative, this conversation might have ended differently. Instead, every dodge makes the officer dig in further, checking whether the gun is stolen, whether the driver has a felony record, and whether anything else about this stop doesn't add up. What happens next is the moment the driver finally accepts there's no way out of this.
There is nothing that is going to change the outcome of you going to jail tonight. Okay, let me ask you this, just so that I can better understand. What do you think is a equitable solution to the fact that you're driving 78 miles an hour over a 55 mile an hour speed limit, driving in the HOV lane by yourself, and then in an effort to not get pulled over, cut across 5 lanes of traffic to try and hide on the far right lane? What do you think is an appropriate, like if you were me and you would pull me over for driving that reckless, what do you think is a real, honest outcome? I mean, that's literally everything that's going to happen. I mean, you're going down there until you can see a judge, and the judge can figure out you getting back out. And then all the other stuff as far as driving classes and whatever, like, you're still probably going to end up having to do all that, but we don't set that. That's all the court sets all that. There is nothing that is going to change the outcome of you going to jail tonight.
Notice the question the officer asks here. He doesn't just say, "You're going to jail." He actually asks the driver, in his own words, what he thinks a fair consequence would be for driving 78 miles an hour over the limit and then trying to evade a police vehicle in traffic. It's a moment that flips the entire stop from confrontation into something closer to a lesson. The officer isn't performing anger. He's making the driver reckon with the actual math of what he did. From here, the situation moves toward processing. An uncle and his wife arrive on scene, and the officer has to figure out what happens to the car, the gun, and the driver's phone before the transport to jail.
You're driving 133 in a 55.
Oh man,
in the HOV lane, and then when I tried to like get close to pull him over, he just ducked across 5 lanes of traffic to try and hide from me. Going for, you know, for felonies or nothing, but like we can't be out here driving 78 miles an hour over the speed limit, putting everybody else's life in jeopardy. So he got to sit down for a minute, and yeah, I mean, realistically, we don't set whether they have to see judges, not have to see judges. The corrections do that.
Okay.
So if he does have to see a judge, that should be at like 10 or 12 tomorrow morning. That's just not something that I can give you a ticket. If you Google the City of Atlanta jail, it's the only one that comes up. It's like 254 Peachtree Street.
This part of the footage matters because it shows what happens after an arrest that most people never see. The paperwork of it. The officer explains to the family, step by step, that the department doesn't control bond, court dates, or release timing. That decision belongs entirely to the jail's booking process and the court. He also walks through something practical. The driver's phone stays with him, so he can call for help once he's booked, but the firearm gets released to a family member on the scene, instead of going into property storage, since that would mean an extra trip later to retrieve it. Small detail, but it's the kind of procedural moment that rarely makes it into these videos.
I'm going to give this to you because it doesn't really serve him any benefit to have it. You have it. And then if he is good with it, I will give you his firearm.
Yes.
Because I ran his firearm. It's not stolen, so we're good with that.
Absolutely.
The only thing is that, do you have a carry permit?
No, not on me right now.
Okay, so I will put it in your car.
Okay.
But we're going to put it in the trunk.
Okay, that's fine.
Just for everybody's ease, and then you guys can get it back to him as opposed to him having to go up, get it out of property, and do all that.
Absolutely.
I just got to ask him and make sure that it's okay with him that you take possession of it.
Absolutely.
24, can you show me transporting one male from my location to City Jail, starting mileage 44243?
By this point in the footage, the emotional temperature has completely changed. The driver isn't arguing anymore. He's quiet, cooperative, answering questions with short, defeated responses. That shift is worth paying attention to, because it's the clearest evidence in the whole video that consequences, once they're actually happening, instead of just being threatened, tend to sink in fast. The last stretch of footage covers the drive to the jail and the booking process. Routine questions, a search, and the kind of paperwork that turns a dramatic highway stop into just another case number.
So, we, the Atlanta Police Department, have no control over your booking process. I don't know, man. I'd literally just be making up an answer if I told you something. So, the people that are going to be able to answer that question for you are the ladies and gentlemen at corrections, which will be at in about 2 minutes. Mr. Carter, I'm going to ask you a question. Don't get offended. I ask everybody the same question. If I take your handcuffs off, are you going to do something stupid? Fantastic. Stand up so I can get those cuffs off. The water fountain's right there once we get.
So here's where things stood by the end of this footage. The driver was arrested and booked on reckless driving and multiple traffic violations after being clocked at 133 miles per hour in a 55 miles per hour zone. And after misrepresenting to the officer whether he had a weapon in the vehicle, the firearm itself wasn't illegal. It was released to a family member rather than confiscated.